Greetings again, friends. It is certainly a great time to live, as many Bible prophecies are in place and things are happening around the world, and there is lots to think about and learn from. And so I'm glad you have joined on this Lessons to Learn Ministries channel. Now, I'm working on a video that I think will be received well and you'll find quite relevant and interesting. But that video needs a little more work, and I and my wife Christina cannot do that at this time. Christina helps me put these videos together and does the editing and the nice pictures and things that you see. So things in life interfere and take more time with what we would like to do. But that being said, I'm going to take time in this video to reflect a little bit more about things related to that event that changed my life and the lives of many people around the world, and helping us to know the way that we should live. Now, if you didn't see the last video that I recorded, please go back and look at Life Changer. That is the video where I talked about that and what happened. April 16th of 2007 is the event that changed my life forever. And that date had really a worldwide impact, but not necessarily understood as much by many, because all the education institutions had been impacted to think about how they would deal with the situation, like what happened. So security measures have changed, and most places have a plan in place to deal with such an event. If a shooting or someone would try to harm other people, what they would do. But I thought it would still be good to address some issues related to that. And this article that I'm going through today is the article I wrote on the second anniversary of that shooting, when I was still there on the campus and walking around and thinking through things. So God was still testing me at the time too, and I was going through that personal tragedy even as I write this. So I'm revisiting that in this video. Now, the blog articles can be found on the website, which is www.vtlessonstolearn.com. And I have a playlist on this YouTube channel where I take those blogs and develop them further, reading through them and talking about them. And that can be found on the blog articles playlist. But this blog article today addresses a key thing that we all can do that would help prevent such tragedies. And it would help keep people who are hurting from doing things that could hurt them and or others. So listen to this video as I read. Run, walk, talk. April 16, 2009. I had the privilege of spending several hours on the Virginia Tech campus today. Many in the entire Blacksburg, Virginia community and others who are a part of the Hokie Nation spent the day reflecting and remembering. On campus, the day began with a 3.2-mile run in honor of the 32 victims. A special memorial service took place at noon, and the day ended with a candlelight vigil. Just as I did last year, see my 41608 blog and the poem coming from that day under the Poems tab, I learned from my time on campus. If we are to truly prevail, we must indeed learn how to run, walk, and talk. Now, this introduction highlights what I was learning and what was happening during this time at the ground zero where Virginia Tech is, and where this tragedy had occurred. One thing I did notice was how there were still things that even at this time were being missed in investigations about how this could happen, and if we would just learn some of these things, we could prevent more of this from happening, even as I said then and have said a lot since. Now, I addressed one of those things in that poem that I wrote that was written on that first anniversary a year before this. And you can see me read that and talk about that on this YouTube channel if you go look at the poem I wrote called Learn to Prevail 32 to 33. Now, you may also want to hear about the other poems and things that I've written and talk about as I have recorded those on this channel. So go to my poems playlist and you can see those as well. But let's continue from this article. It was great that over 4,300 participated in the inaugural Run for Remembrance. Life is certainly as a race we must run in order to finish well. We must be learning along the way. 1 Corinthians 9, 24 to 27. The key to the race is running with purpose and discipline and staying on the right path to the finish. What about that one on 4/16/07 who was running the wrong way? As difficult as this is, could there not have been some way to reflect and learn from that life? That brings me to my next point, walking. Now, from that run to remembrance, it came to the point of the heart of what I wanted to say and why I had even written that poem. The Virginia Tech tragedy was horrific, and no one wanted to even think about what this person did as they pointed that gun and just annihilated the people in the classrooms and what he did earlier in the day. And so it was horrific, and I get why people don't want to talk about it. But this was a student on the campus. This student had a history on the campus. He even had a history in the mental health community. And there should have been more learned about all of this and from what happened on the campus and things talked about and investigated to try to prevent such a thing. Because the conditions in his life that led him to do such a thing that contributed to him lashing out in this horrible way. So listen to the suggestion that I make here in this article. What if there was an end to this Run for Remembrance where each participant simply walked another 1/10 of a mile? That would at least acknowledge that troubled life which brought about this terrible tragedy. What if we all took more time to walk outside of our own circle of friends and familiarity and reached out to the others around us? As I walked alone all over the campus, I reflected on how it would be better if we were learning to walk up to others and greet them, or even try to talk with them. That brings me to my last point, talking. Now, I remember walking alone, and I noticed how most other people weren't alone. They were walking in groups of 2 or 3, or sometimes a few more. And there were a few people that were walking alone, but most people were in groups. So I shared my thoughts further at this time. While walking around alone, I did take the initiative to greet and even talk with some that I saw who were also alone. Why weren't more doing this? Maybe some were, but I did not observe anyone else doing this. Most were just talking with the friends or groups they were with. During my entire time on campus, around hundreds of other people, while waiting alone at the memorials, walking around the chapel, or noting remembrances in the student center, not one person greeted me or initiated talking with me. Had I not initiated greeting others and even some conversations with others, there would not have been one person talking with me all day long. Do you see what we need to learn there? Now, that was an incredible experience and an important point to make. You must learn from this because talking with others, especially those people who are alone, is so important. It is quite possible that a person you would talk to, it's even likely that that person has had some kind of rift or difficulty in a broken relationship or difficulty with a friend or family member. And so they're alone because of this. And so the people who are dealing with that are ones who need a distraction. They are caught in their repetitive thoughts that are often negative, and they can easily focus on being upset by another person, and they just perhaps they're just drifting along and open to whatever demonically motivated suggestion might be there for them, as I think Sun Hui Cho was too. But you may want to review the video that I did that is called Drifting, which has things that could be learned for other people, even that aren't alone. But greeting a person who is alone is so very important, and interacting with them gives them a different perspective to take them off of that self-focused perspective they're in. I talk about this in different ways on this channel with different videos, but fortunately for me, I had the Lord with me as I walked around on the campus and was praying to Him and talking with Him throughout that time. But I know many other people did not. And I also initiated conversations with others as God led me to do so as we were going. But listen to how I continued here and see that this is something that we really need to get more from. Friend, we should not honor the life of Sun Hui Cho in the same way that we do the 32 victims. Yet we dare not ignore the lessons needing to be learned through his life too. As you run the race of your life, please reach out to, or at least acknowledge the others around you, especially if they are running the wrong way or off the path. As you are walking around, take the time to walk up to someone who is alone. Talk with others and even those outside of your own circle of friends. If we seek to communicate with others, we will more readily recognize those who are struggling and be able to help encourage them and possibly even prevent another tragedy. This is why I entitled this article, Run, Walk, Talk. So I concluded. Please learn from my own experience today and even last year, and reach out to and serve others you find along the pathway of your life. You may wish to look at my Learn to Prevail 32 to 33 poem written last year under the Poems tab. Yes, there were many doing much good today and supporting their friends. But what about the needs of those around us that we don't know, or even those who are our enemies? Consider the challenging words of Jesus in Matthew 5:44. But I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those who curse you. Do good to those who hate you. And pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. Now, I did reference that poem I had written earlier as well, and I hope you will go and watch that video talking about that. But we are supposed to be living by love. We learn this example from our Savior, Jesus Christ. we know that he was left alone and he was captured and taken to be tried as he was turned over and left. His disciples fled at the time. Jesus was crucified and he died alone on the cross, even as God the Father glanced away because Jesus became sin for us. We know that Jesus didn't stay dead, though. He rose from the dead as the first to rise and live forever. And that is the promise for us, that we will be resurrected too, because he did. All those who place their faith in Jesus Christ will be resurrected as he was. So finally, here I said in this article, learn better how to run, walk, and talk so that you and each of us can truly prevail. Indeed, helping others to learn to prevail is what I do through my book, what I did through all the blog articles written, and what I do on this Lessons to Learn Ministries YouTube channel. You can learn to prevail in life and over sin and darkness and the devil if you place your faith in Jesus Christ and trust God and his word. So friends, like this video, share it with others, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll be ready for the next video. Remember to run, walk, and talk.